Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Monday, May 19th, 2025. A tornado outbreak is forecast across the central and southern plains up into parts of the Midwest as we go into this afternoon and this evening with multiple strong to intense tornadoes, destructive hail, and some very strong wind gusts as well. We're going to be walking you through the forecast. So make sure to like the video, especially to get all this information out to as many people as possible to keep them safe from the severe weather, and share this video with friends, family, and on social media. If you want to subscribe to the channel for the latest accurate, reliable, and detailed weather information, subscribe to my channel and we'll keep you covered with daily weather forecasts here on the channel. Let's get into the forecasts here. We have a red area again today. This is a moderate risk, level 4 out of 5, extending up into southwestern Missouri, southeastern Kansas, east central Oklahoma, and northwestern portions of Arkansas, extending into far northeast Texas as well. And this is an area where we have to be on extremely high alert for a tornado outbreak to unfold out around that area up to Kansas City, almost to the St. Louis area, and as far south as the DFW Metroplex. We actually have a 3 out of 5 in orange, a enhanced risk of severe weather. Severe weather could extend as far north as South Dakota, as far south as central Texas, and as far east as South Carolina this afternoon. And the reason being is we have a trough that's going to be ejecting from the Rockies and western plains into the eastern plains toward the Mississippi Valley as we go into this afternoon and this evening. It's a negatively tilted trough, so this is going to be bringing us some very dynamic weather, and it could be in the form of some strong and violent tornadoes, quite frankly, across this yellow and red shade of color hatched outlined in black from Kansas City down here through Wichita, Oklahoma City, and Tulsa, Joplin up there towards Springfield and Jefferson City, all the way over here to Fort Smith, Arkansas, and down as far south as the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We need to be on high alert for some strong to violent and long track tornadoes, the tornadoes that could be on the ground for a long period of time. Now, in the brown shaded colors, a 5% chance, and the greens, a 2% chance for tornadoes surrounding that area. So Des Moines, Omaha, Lincoln, Nebraska, down here towards San Antonio, even into the Memphis area and Little Rock, St. Louis, all the way over to Mayfield, Kentucky. You all have a risk for tornadoes as we go into later on today, especially late this afternoon and this evening. Now, there is a threat for some more big hail, softball size hail once again across portions, especially into the pink shaded color there, into eastern Oklahoma and northwestern Arkansas, but that could extend as far north as the Nebraska-Iowa state line, all the way down into north central Texas. So a large area at risk for some softball size hail going into this afternoon and evening. And then we have the threat for winds upwards to 80 miles per hour here into southeastern Kansas, northeastern portions of Oklahoma, southwest Missouri, northwest Arkansas here. So for the Tulsa area up towards Springfield, Missouri, and near Fort Smith, Arkansas, we're going to be keeping a very close eye on the 80 mile per hour wind potential going through today as well. So here's the setup. We got the dry line further to the west. See dew points behind that into the single digits and teens. Ahead of that, we got dew points into the upper 60s to low 70s, even some mid 70s down here as you get into Oklahoma and North Texas to the Red River Valley. Warm front all the way up to the north from Iowa into central Illinois and southern Indiana. South of the warm front, that's where it's very unstable. And look at the storm energy we have ahead of that dry line today, and south of the warm front, we're going to be seeing instability values over 4,000 to even 5,000 joules per kilogram, especially with the strongest values really kind of centered in that moderate risk, level 4 out of 5 area today in east central Oklahoma. So we're going to be keeping a very close eye on that. Now, wind shear is going to be very strong today as well in the low levels, right? This is your 850 millibar low level jet, and it's going to really start to increase as we go into this afternoon. And this is going to increase the longevity of the storms and the rotation that they acquire as we go into later on today. This is the storm. This is the significant tornado parameter space, and this shows you the higher the number, the more rotation there is in the atmosphere. Here at noon, 1 o'clock, there's some decent rotation down there toward the Red River Valley, extending up toward Kansas City. Watch as those values start to percolate into the pinks and whites later on today That is really maxing out on the rotation in the atmosphere as we go across Oklahoma into Arkansas, into Missouri, into Kansas, and North Texas as we go into late this afternoon and especially peaking early this evening. So here's finally the timing of the storms. Here's noon. We've got a couple showers and storms. These should be elevated, so if anything, they'll be producing some hail. Damaging wind gusts, tornadoes should be at a minimum here at the noon hour. Now, as we go to the 3 o'clock time frame, really between 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock this afternoon, we're watching for initiation of intense supercells that will be capable of producing those strong to violent tornadoes that could be on the ground for a long period of time. That's what we call long track tornadoes. And then we could see destructive hail up to softball size and upwards to 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts, extending up here as far north as southern Iowa, all the way down into North Texas. We're going to be watching for those supercells to develop. Going to the 6 o'clock hour, really intense storms here with lines of storms. This is more likely with lines of storms up there into Missouri. That's why we have the threat for 80-mile-an-hour winds. Further south, more of a significant tornado threat further south into Oklahoma and North Texas. This is where we're going to maximize the tornado and hail potential. So the strong to violent long track tornadoes down here and the potential for softball size hail maximizing early this evening. And as we go through the evening hours, it's going to continue to shift further off to the east. Now, St. Louis looking to get some pretty hefty storms. Hopefully these storms weaken before they reach the St. Louis metro area. If anything, heavy rainfall will be a concern. And then all that beneficial rain is going to be moving up through Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, and into Indiana with some moderate to heavy pockets of rain waking up on your Tuesday morning into Des Moines, Prairie du Chien, Madison, Rockford, and Chicago, all the way down to Indianapolis for your Tuesday morning commute. So make sure you have an umbrella handy for tomorrow morning. Now, here's the maximum updraft helicity tracks. We are showing here the potential of some really strong updrafts. Again, today, we saw those yesterday, and we saw tornadoes, hail yesterday. We're going to see that again today, and some of those tornadoes could be on the ground for a long period of time, for miles and miles, possibly 20 or to 30 miles at times, and they could be very intense. So we're going to keep a very close eye on that. Hail and winds are also going to be possible. Going into tomorrow, we're going to be watching that ejecting more into the Ohio Valley vicinity, and that is going to be producing another round of severe weather on the eastern and southeastern flank of our negatively tilted trough tomorrow. In fact, the Storm Prediction Center has Tuesday a 3 out of 5 enhanced risk from West Kentucky down into middle and western Tennessee, northern Mississippi, and northwestern Alabama. This includes big cities of Nashville, Memphis, Tupelo, Huntsville, and Florence, all the way up to Bowling Green there in Kentucky, with severe weather extending outside of that. In the yellow is a 2 out of 5, and in the dark green is a 1 out of 5, a slight and marginal risk, respectively, as we go through tomorrow. More strong tornadoes, including the Bowling Green area, Mayfield, down to Nashville, into portions there of Clarksville and Jackson, Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee, down to Tupelo, Huntsville, and Florence. You guys are all included, and with the potential for some strong long-track tornadoes going through tomorrow in this area. Outside of that, in the brown, that's a 5% chance. In the green, outside of that, is a 2% chance of tornadoes within a 25-mile radius of any location in or around your area. We also have the chance for some 70-plus mile-per-hour wind gusts, especially in the yellow and red shaded color, and the hail threat is much lower tomorrow, but we still could be seeing a quarter to half-dollar size hailstones anywhere in the brown or yellow shaded color, especially along and east of the Mississippi Valley. Looking at the setup for tomorrow, warm front extending into northern Illinois, central Indiana, and southern portions of Ohio, just slightly near and north of the Ohio River in general. South of that, we're going to be seeing dew points into the upper 60s to low 70s. That will yield some pretty strong instability. This is your storm energy going into tomorrow, around 3,000 joules per kilogram. And our low-level jet in the 850 millibar layer going to start to strengthen and be persistent through Tennessee into Kentucky, northern Mississippi, and northern Alabama tomorrow. And the persistence of that low-level jet will help maintain those storms' coverage and intensity and the potential for those strong long-track tornadoes going through tomorrow evening. Here's the significant tornado parameter space, shows you the rotation in the atmosphere. You can see pretty low in the morning, but watch as those values grow ahead of the cold front and south of the warm front from Kentucky into portions of middle and western Tennessee, northern Mississippi, and northwestern Alabama through the peak of the afternoon tomorrow, mid to late afternoon, and into the evening hours before those values crash back down as those storms approach the Atlanta area later on tomorrow night. Here's the timing. Tomorrow morning, might want to pack an umbrella because we're going to be wet across the Ohio Valley into the Midwest. No severe weather expected up there, but we are watching severe storms further to the south here into the Tennessee Valley Valley and Dixie Alley region, and those will really start to percolate as we go into the afternoon. A first round of storms could come through mid to late morning, a little bit of a break early in the afternoon. If we see sunshine come out, that will actually destabilize the atmosphere, and that would actually be a bad thing. So that could give us more storm energy to work with, and those storms could be even more intense than they already are forecast. So we'll be keeping an eye on that, but nonetheless, discrete, semi-discrete supercells, a couple lines of storms could be sprawling out across the Tennessee Valley into the Dixie Alley with all hazards we mentioned: strong long-track tornadoes, destructive hail, and the potential, again, for damaging wind gusts upwards to 70 miles an hour. Here's the maximum updraft helicity. It shows you how long-tracked and intense these storms will be. Again, we have some tracks moving through Kentucky into Tennessee, northern Mississippi, and northwestern Alabama. That's where we expect the more intense storms to be with those stronger updrafts. We'll be keeping a very close eye on that as we go in through Tuesday. And finally, on Wednesday, May 21st, marginal risk of severe weather, 1 out of 5 in the dark green here into portions of Virginia, the Carolinas, especially the eastern Carolinas, and into coastal Georgia there towards Savannah, Georgia, Charleston to Myrtle Beach, all the way up to Wilmington, Raleigh, and even in toward portions of the Norfolk area. Keeping an eye on winds, hail, and a very isolated tornado or waterspout going through the day on Wednesday. Overall this week, going to be seeing some very heavy rain, beneficial rain further north, so we don't want to, discount areas in the Dakotas, southern Minnesota, Wisconsin. Going to be seeing quite a bit of rainfall up here. Localized flooding of farm fields will be possible as the farmers just planted their crops, and it's a lot of dirt out there, so we could actually be seeing a lot of flooding, but beneficial rains nonetheless will help out with the drought up there. Further south, a lot of this rainfall activity will be associated with our severe thunderstorms. And looking at our temperatures through this week, this is Monday today, May 19th through Friday, May 23rd. Coolest of our air in the dark green area up here into portions of the Dakotas, upper Midwest, Great Lakes, and the Ohio Valley extending into the Northeast. These are where temperatures could be 15 to 20 degrees below normal along the Gulf Coast from Texas over to Florida, and even including South Carolina at times. Temperature anomalies will be 15 to 20 degrees above normal down across those areas. So look to the north. Literally just a week ago, we were seeing record highs and one of the earliest days on record in North Dakota of hitting 100 degrees. Now we're seeing a record high low temperature. Look at that. We're at the mid 40s for today in the afternoon. That's as high as we're getting into portions of the Dakotas, upper 30s at times in the western Dakotas, more record high lows across portions of the central and eastern Dakotas there on Tuesday. Look at the warmer air, triple digits down here on contrast into the Rio Grande and South Texas near 105, 90s, more widespread heat and record-breaking heat in Florida on Tuesday. That'll just continue as we go into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We'll moderate those temperatures in the north into the 60s and the low 70s. Now going into the Memorial Day weekend time frame, this is Saturday, May 24th through Monday, Memorial Day, May 26th. Coolest of our air will be across the northeast United States in the eastern seaboard. Temperatures could be about 20 degrees below normal. Warmest of our air, again, Texas, especially West Texas, could be up to 25 degrees above normal with our temperatures. And the clash of the air masses right in between, we're going to be watching for some showers and storms over that Memorial Day weekend time frame. Saturday into Sunday from the central and southern plains and into the Gulf Coast states as we go into Memorial Day itself on Monday, May 26th. And it's a little bit too early to assess the severe weather situation, but we could actually see the chance for some severe storms, at least on an isolated to scattered basis, from Kansas, Oklahoma into Texas, and much of the mid and lower Mississippi Valley. That could extend to the southeast going through Memorial Day itself. Here's where the heaviest rainfall could occur, really across the mid and lower Mississippi Valley region, parts of the southern plains and Tennessee Valley, and then extending into the southeast. Driest areas will be the desert southwest, the upper Midwest, the Ohio Valley, or the mid-Atlantic. Some rainfall there in the northeast going into the Memorial Day weekend time frame. Now, extending beyond that through the last few days of May, going through May 31st, we're going to see the coolest of our air sticking around across the eastern seaboard. Warmer air starting to build across the Rockies and the Intermountain West, really starting to heat up in the southern Canadian prairies as well, and the more active weather will be down here to the south, across Dixie Alley and into the southeast, including Florida, which has had a lot of significant drought lately. Going to be seeing quite a bit of rainfall, and you can see day after day, especially during the afternoons, peak instability. We're going to start to see showers and thunderstorms going through all the way to the end of May through Saturday, May 31st, and that could be adding up in a big way. Could be seeing several inches of rain down here for the Dixie Alley into the southeast, including Florida, seeing a couple inches of rain, especially northern and central Florida. Southern Florida may trend a little bit drier, but still getting precipitation in those areas to help alleviate the drought conditions in that area. So thank you all for watching. Please like the video, give it a thumbs up to spread this information to more people. Got any questions, comment below, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll keep you updated. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their day out there.